Crypto is pumping. Uptober is officially here, and there's a lot of things to really be excited about. And one of those things is today's video, because we're going to be looking at 3 specific crypto projects that don't have tokens yet, but are very, very early, that are reminiscent of other projects that have already been successful, that when they did have a TGE, when they did have a token launch, they were valued at the hundreds of millions, upwards of a few $billion. And we're looking at 3 specifically in the Solana ecosystem. Solana is known to have some of the biggest airdrops in crypto history. And we're going to be looking at 3 that have their own approach to what they're doing. Some of these are guaranteed airdrops, others are maybe not as much, and each one of them is unique in its own right. There will be timestamps down below if you want to skip between the parts of the video. I'll leave the details, the official links, also in the description, so you may have that there. And at the end, we're going to talk about a very unique project run by one of my good YouTuber friends that I think has a lot of potential and has done extremely well thus far. So that said, if you're new here, my name is Alex, for crypto news, crypto passive income. If you enjoy content like that, consider subscribing. If you enjoyed this video, smash up the like. Without further ado, let's jump into the video. One of the top performing asset classes in 2025 has been gold. Now, when you take a look at historically, gold is, for most people, a very boring type of investing. Most people turn to gold as just like a safe haven. They don't really see it as a way to really increase your overall wealth, not necessarily on a exponential standpoint, right? If you really want to have most people look at it as a hedge to inflation. If you want real potential, then you're going to go a little bit high risk. Gold typically isn't seen as high risk, therefore typically you don't see as high yield. Now, in 2025, gold is up 45%, which is the average return over the prior 4 years. So gold has done astronomically well in 2025 and really taken a lot of attention from other cryptocurrencies, and more specifically Bitcoin, because when people looked at the hedge against inflation over the last couple of weeks, Bitcoin wasn't doing all too well. A lot of attention was on gold because of how well gold was doing with all the uncertainty. So it's interesting. Obviously, Bitcoin up today over the last couple of days has done astronomically well, but overall, a lot of attention on gold, but it still has the same kind of taste in most people's mouth of being boring. Well, that is all changing with a project called Oro Finance. We're not going to do a deep dive into this, but I'm going to give you enough information to be dangerous when it comes to this project. So the first thing you have to understand is that this project had a 1.5 million seed round in earlier part of this year. And the CEO of Oro Finance is an individual that has a ton of experience. But very briefly, he said, gold shouldn't sit idle, it should generate wealth. Usman Salim, co-founder and CEO of Oro. With Oro, gold isn't something you just hold, it's something you can earn with, borrow against, and use seamlessly across markets. So this is gold, but better. So what does this mean? Who is Usman Salim, and why should you trust him, right? Because generating yield on gold is the same thing as like saying stake Bitcoin and earn 10%. It's kind of a lot of questions rise in most people's heads. So Usman Salim hails from the Oro family, a prominent UAE-based dynasty with over a century of leadership in the gold industry, handling billions in annual transactions. So this is a person, if you're wanting someone to launch a Bitcoin company or launch a gold-based company on Solana, this is the type of individual that you want behind it. So a lot of experience, a lot of family knowledge, and when you're coming to what this means to the ecosystem, there is a ton of potential value. Now, he's a part of another group called Super Team, based out of also Dubai. They are a massive group of people who essentially allow projects to tap into the wealth that exists there. They've seen a ton of success. They've helped teams around the world to relocate to Dubai, get into accelerator programs, raise money, hire talented engineers. They're kind of like a really kind of they throw in the special sauce, right? Like if you think of like Shark Tank, getting the right shark on your team just kind of explodes the business. That is essentially what they do on the blockchain side. They've helped a lot of projects already, and one of those also being Oro Gold. So Oro is still relatively early. This is really, really new, and I saw a post about this from the likes of Helios Dev. I don't have it here, but he was also prior Coinbase. He is one of the individuals that has talked about this and about the opportunity that exists with something like Oro Finance and what it is doing. I can't find the tweet, but either way, a lot of attention on something like this, especially with what it's able to do. But let's take a look at the platform itself and some of the things that you need to understand. So the first thing is it has independently verifiable reserves. The first monthly report is going to be published this month. So it's going to be a lot of eyes on the report just to see what comes out of it. I'm going to be keeping an eye on that as well. When it comes to actually the platform itself, you need to be able to trade USDC into gold. Now, you can at that point also get physical gold. So you do have to KYC or KYB, know your business, know your customer. If you want the actual physical gold, you need to have at least 1 ounce if you want physical gold delivered to you. But this is very, very simple. So you essentially trade and then you have the ability to earn by locking up and staking your gold. Now, this is locked up for 12 months. So realize this is something that you are going to be long-term consistent with. Be mindful of that if you're going to get involved. There's a lot more details on how all this works. I'll leave a link to it down below. But here's the big thing that I want to highlight as far as the biggest question as far as a separate token, because there is a referral. So if you do need an invite, I have a referral code if this is a project you want to get involved in, just to be able to explore. So there is no separate token yet, such as ST Gold at this time. Staked gold remains associated with your wallet and accrues yield directly. A fungible staked token may be introduced in the future to unlock DeFi integration. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of features come out of it in the future. But either way, really cool project, very, very early. Definitely one to check out. Now, moving on to project number 2, that is Solstice. Now, one of the only other things that's been more popular than the appreciation of gold's price has been stablecoins in 2025. It's kind of almost kind of gotten numb to the idea of stablecoins because it's simply just another stablecoin. But Solana has its first major stablecoin coming to its ecosystem. Obviously, you can get USDC, you can get USDT, but Solana's own stablecoin on its own ecosystem is not really something that we've seen to a large degree. So it's going to be interesting to see how Solstice continues to grow. Now, mind you, this launched just a couple of days ago. So this is the first. Solana has its own stablecoin. USX is live, and they already have $166 million in TVL. That is in a course of like a day and a half. So it's been very, very impressive. This is growing very, very quickly. And there's a lot of different ways. There is 2 aspects. And actually the second portion to this, when it comes to the airdrop, ties into our third project that we're going to talk about. But participating in Solstice, there's a lot of free things that you can do because 7.5% of the tokens are going to be allocated to an airdrop. Now, mind you, airdrops for the more recent projects that have been in stablecoin projects have been in the $5,000 range to $50,000 range, depending on how much you got involved. It really is up to you how much you get involved, how much capital you contribute. But in the end, stablecoin airdrops have been a huge meta. They've been very, very successful, and people have earned a lot through those. It's not guaranteeing of what future ones could be, but we know the Solana ecosystem, and we know how successful Solana's ecosystem is when it comes to airdrops. You can see TVL is almost at 180 million. And like I said, this is day 2, so this is growing very, very quickly. 7.5% of the overall flares, when you look at the participation in this, there's going to be a portion set aside for airdrops. Maybe I'll probably have like a future video of a dedicated how to participate in this to its full extent in the future. But the biggest thing is the different contribution quest. Each one of these are different ways to be able to earn more flares, and in that sense also increase your overall flares that you earn that goes towards your airdrop. So Connecting your wallet, super simple. Connecting your X account, partner code. So there's two that you can use. You can use Orca and you can use Radium. Both of those add as a overall multiplier. There is a referral code. I have mine here that I'll leave it down below if you want to use that. And then other ways participating in the DeFi aspect of Solstice. So holding USX, the stablecoin, for 3 months. Hold USX, first swap, hold USX for 1 month. So you can scroll through these. There's a lot of different ones that are very easy to get involved in. Some of these directly through Solstice, some of them through other platforms such as Orca or Radium. So for example, if you go over to here, you can see how you can earn more flares through some of these. There's a lot of great opportunities through here to be able to participate, to make it very, very simple. And then directly through their yield vault also allows you to earn through this. So having a Phantom wallet, a lot of these very, very simple lock, unlock, withdrawal, very, very simple platform to understand. You go back to your dashboard. I haven't currently yet gotten involved. There's a lot of farming that I'm doing across multiple platforms, but this is one that once a few of my other positions get unlocked, I am going to be dedicating to. But thus far, I've gone ahead and started with the very basic things, and that is one of the things I highly recommend that you do. Get started on it and start earning some of those flares because that is going to be very, very important. So a couple of other things to understand about Solflare. This is really the first high-level grade yield coming to Solana. Very simple process. You get some EUSX, navigate to lock some USX for USX, lock half, and then so you can provide liquidity positions. So talking a little bit more of details, how to apply those to different multipliers. So there are obviously risks to everything, so I highly recommend that you do some research on this before maybe you dive all in. But this is some of the bigger details. This, like I said, this is something that is growing very quickly. This individual by the name of Juicy World or Jussie World, whatever his name is, said that with the launch yesterday, he deposited $12,000 to farm it. He made over 20K from a similar airdrop in just 3 months. So very, very impressive to see, obviously, his success in the past and his recommendation for this one specifically. Deposit USDC to earn 10.2% yield, then use the code to multiply points. Base allocation is 7.5% of the SLX total supply, which is gonna be the native token. So like I said, there is the earlier you get in, this is day 2. Mind you, this is day 2. The earlier you get in, the better. So mind you, after this video is finished recording, I'll be getting myself involved in the ecosystem, but I wanted to go ahead and get this out here because that way you can get a head start. You can use my referral code down below to get an extra 1,000 flares. So project number 2, involved in the stablecoin ecosystem. There is an airdrop, 7.5%, but there is more ways to earn from this. And this brings us to project number 3, and that is Xeet. Now, maybe you're familiar already with Kaido. You're probably familiar with how projects like this, when it comes to social finance, essentially talking about, posting about some of these projects primarily on X. You can literally earn free. I mean, look, for this example, right? Beldex, there's a reward pool of $150,000, $50,000 every single month to the top 100 creators, right? So this is $5,000 that you could earn if you are a top creator for Beldex, right? And there's tons of different projects out here. There's plenty of opportunities. If you commit enough time, for example, Pith Network has 10,000 to the top Pith creators monthly. So there's a lot of ways to be able to earn if you're involved on X or you post great content on X to also double dip and earn. Now, not only do you earn from these projects themselves, you also earn yaps, which you can get airdropped Kato tokens for. In fact, the very first airdrop, a lot of people made a lot of money, or I would say some people made a lot of money. Most people made a decent amount. Obviously, the bigger content creators are going to earn a lot more, kind of how the system works. But in the end, there's still plenty of opportunity to earn from some of these others. I mean, you have 36 current total projects. Now, that said, Kaido already has a token. Xeet is an up-and-coming project on Solana, very similar to Kaido, but it doesn't have a token, and that is the early opportunity. You can see Kaido has a market cap fully diluted valuation of 1.4 billion. I think a lot of opportunity in the likes of this as well. Gamified social arena where creators compete to boost brands. So very, very simple. What they have is called signals, and you essentially have different topics, different leagues powered by real-time signals compete in tournaments for Xeets and crypto rewards. A lot of different ways, and one of those is Solstice. So you can directly farm both Xeet and Solstice at the same time because 1% of the SLX supply is going towards those participating here. Mind you, the top 100 are rewarded, and there's only 1,500 participants. That's really not a whole lot, to be honest, compared to other platforms with a lot more people. And that's 1% of the entire supply. So if you think about that, let's just say, the value of that supply is $100 million. $1 million goes to 100 people. That is a fantastic payday by all measures. So either way, I think there's a lot of opportunities. So profile, obviously you connect your overall profile. Very simple. You can go ahead and get your first reward. You claim this on a weekly basis. So very simple to be able to earn a Xeet. Not a whole lot to it. And then you can join the waitlist to get notified about other things. There's also some interesting aspects because it also shows you where you are and who you compare to and similar vibes that you have. So I think it is kind of interesting. There's a lot of AI aspect to this as far as where are you on the content scale. There's a lot more features that I think you have with something like Xeet that make it very, very interesting and appealing. And then if you do need a referral, I'm more than happy to link one down below. So if you want to join that and double dip both on Xeet and also to double dip on Solstice. Now, this is the last thing that I want to highlight, and this is because of one of my friends, George from Cryptos R Us, is behind this project. I unfortunately found out about this late, and kind of kicking myself at this point because if I knew it was George directly behind it, then I would have gotten in literally within the first 5 minutes. George is an individual. If you don't know who George is, Cryptos R Us, just search it up on YouTube. One of the biggest YouTube channels out there when it comes to crypto. I've met George multiple times when I've done karate combat, when we did IFC fights. So a lot of great opportunities, great working with George. But he has a project that launched called George Plays Clash Royale, and currently it is sitting at a $70 million fully diluted valuation. They actually have a competition hosted tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central that you can participate in. You have to hold 3,000 Clash tokens to be able to participate, and the top winner gets 7 Solana. So very, very cool stuff that they're doing. It's essentially, here it is. So top prizes is actually 6 Solana. And you can see some of the different prizes. There's tons of giveaways. So a lot of really interesting things. There's all of this is live streamed through Pump Fun. Very, very interesting approach. A lot of exciting things that George is doing. And a lot of people slept on this. And if I knew about it, I would have not slept on it. But I think there's still a lot of opportunity. Clash Royale is a popular game. George is a great content creator. He's very well known in the industry. So I highly recommend that you at least go check it out or tune in tomorrow when it goes live. And maybe if you're great at Clash, sign up because that could be a way for you to earn a nice $1,500 paycheck. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on these projects. Which one of these 3 was most interesting to you? Comment it down below. If you enjoyed this video, smash up the like. You enjoy content like this, consider subscribing. And until next time, guys, stay invested.